What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about a new player's guide, keywords and differences. If you're coming from Hearthstone to Gods Unchained, welcome, you're in the right place. If you want to download the game, you can get $20 right now just for playing and doing a couple easy missions. If you use my link in the description, I'll get $5 too, so win-win. But let's talk about the keywords, all of them in Gods Unchained and how they compare to Hearthstone. Then we're going to talk about some key differences. And then at the very end, I'm going to talk about the thing that I think is the most important. So stick around and let's dive in. All right, first up, we've got Hidden. Hidden and Stealth are the same. Hidden creatures cannot be attacked or targeted by enemy spells or abilities. They become unhidden when they attack. So that's the same as Stealth. However, Hidden can also be modified with, there are a lot of creatures that are hidden for one turn. That means that on the turn that you play it, it is hidden. It's hidden on your opponent's turn, and then when it becomes your turn again, it is no longer hidden regardless of if you attack or not. Next up, we've got Afterlife and Death Rattle. These are the same. Afterlife triggers when a creature dies, and then it shows you the effect that it will have when this creature dies. Both players will draw 2 cards in this case. Roar versus Battlecry. Again, very similar. Once these cards enter the battlefield, they will do their Roar effect or their Battlecry effect. Deal 1 damage to an enemy creature. When this creature enters the battlefield from your hand, cards that are resummoned from your void via some spells or other methods to get this back onto the battlefield other than coming from your hand will not trigger a Roar effect. Blitz and Rush are the same. This creature, when it enters the battlefield, can attack any other enemy creature, but it cannot attack a god. Just like Rush, you cannot attack the opposing hero on the same turn that it enters the battlefield. Like Blitz, God Blitz allows you to attack any other creature on the same turn it enters the battlefield, but it also allows you to hit the opponent's face on the same turn, just like Charge is the same thing in Hearthstone. There are no creatures currently in Gods Unchained that have God Blitz by default. There is one that if you have a relic equipped, give God Blitz to this creature. And this one steals God Blitz if your opponent has a creature with God Blitz. And other than that, there are no creatures that just outright have God Blitz. So it's namely a relic-only keyword. Deadly versus Poisonous, same thing. Any damage done by a deadly creature to another creature, the other creature is going to die. Frontline and Taunt are the same thing. Frontline puts a wall up effectively, and you cannot attack through your opponent's frontline creatures unless they also have other frontline creatures. You can choose which frontline creature you want to attack, but you can't attack non-frontline creatures or your opponent's face until you get rid of that frontline creature. Backline, on the other hand, acts the exact opposite as frontline. If your opponent has 4 creatures and 1 backline creature, you cannot attack the backline creature until all the other 4 creatures are gone. This guy is just cowering in the background with his goats. Gotta protect those goats. However, if you want to hit those goats without killing those other 4 creatures, Flank is your friend. This creature can attack any character, ignoring frontline and backline, if any other character has attacked this turn. So, if you've attacked with a relic or with another creature that turn, it then enables you to attack with a flank creature and go around frontline or go around other creatures to hit backline or go straight to the face even if they still have frontline up. You might also notice that there are a couple cards that actually have the definitions right on them. Those you'll find in the welcome set, and they literally write out the definition of the card to help you learn as you start out with the welcome set cards. Next up, we have Protected and Divine Shield. Protected protects your creature or your god for 1 instance of damage. So if it does 1 damage to your creature, your creature would pop protected first, and then you'd have to hit it again for it to die. However, if it gets hit with a spell that says destroy this creature, it goes right through protected and kills your creature, which is where the next one we're going to look at, Ward, comes into play. Ward is a similar protection, but it is against spells only. So a creature that has Ward, if you cast a spell that said destroy this creature, first it would pop Ward and not do any damage to the creature. And then if you had protected and Ward in this case, and you cast a spell that said do 1 damage to this creature, first it would pop Ward. You could then do a second spell that did 1 damage. It would then pop protected, and then this creature would have neither Ward nor protected, and then you could kill it. Leech and Lifesteal. Leech gives your god health, gains health based on the amount of damage inflicted. So if you attack for 6, but your opponent only has 2 health on their creature, you've only inflicted 2 damage, you would heal for 2. Twin Strike versus Wind Fury. So Twin Strike, you can attack twice in the same turn with this creature. However, you can still not attack a god more than once with the same creature in one turn. So you can attack either 2 creatures or 1 creature and a god. All right, lastly, we're going to look at some that don't have direct comparisons. Burn, and then a number. At the end of your turn, every turn, this creature is going to take however much burn damage. It's on fire, so it's going to take 1 damage. If it's a 2/4, it becomes a 2/3. If this was burn 4, this creature would die at the end of the turn. Confused gives your creature a 50% chance to hit the target that you asked it to hit, and then the remaining 50% of the time, it's going to hit evenly one of the other targets. And then regen is the last one here, and that is at the end of your turn, every turn, if your creature is not at full health already. If this creature took damage and is now a 3/2, it has regen 1, it becomes a 3/3. All right, so those were the keywords. Now let's look at some differences in the game. So what are the big differences in Hearthstone? When you pick your hero, you get 1 hero power. In Gods Unchained, when you pick your hero, your god, you can actually pick any god power from that domain after the game has started. So if I see my opponent is playing Deception and I'm playing Nature, Deception has a lot of hidden cards, so I'm going to want to play Leech Life probably because it's going to deal 2 damage to a random enemy creature. That creature could be hidden, which means you can't target it, but it can hit random creatures with Leech Life. And if I see I'm playing against Magic, for instance, maybe I would pick Forage because Magic typically plays more controlling. I'm going to have more time to forage. So Gods Unchained gives you the ability to really pick dynamically which kind of power you want to go with each game. All right, so when you fire up a game, the first thing you get to do is see which god your opponent's playing, and then pick your god power. And then after that, you get the mulligan phase. So if you're going first, you get 3 charges. If you're going second, you get 4. And you can pick 1 card at a time and replace them. And if you want, you can keep everything. You don't have to replace anything. And you get coins in Hearthstone. In Gods Unchained, you get bags, small bags of tricks. And your opponent, he went second, so he gets 3 bags. I'm going first, so I get 1. This just adds 1 mana. It also unlocks a mana. Now, another difference in Gods Unchained is that the mana wheel here, once you get to 5 mana, each turn it goes up by 1. At 5 mana, the very next turn, it goes to 5.5. You don't get to spend the half, but it's effectively an extra turn before it hits 6 mana on the turn after that, then 6.5, and then 7 mana. And then there's 3 turns before it hits 8, and then 4 turns before it hits 9. So the difference is that in Hearthstone, it just goes straight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what that does is it makes games play out a little bit more tactically. In Hearthstone, it just ramps straight up to 9 very fast, whereas in this game, it takes a very long time for it to get to 9. And then another big difference is the Sanctum over here and Favor. So you can see this number up in the upper left corner and in the bottom right. Right now we both have 0. So I'm going to play a card, end my turn. And so every time I attack his face or kill one of his creatures and my creature doesn't die, for instance, if my creature died attacking his creature, I wouldn't gain favor, but right now I have 0 favor. If I attack face, I now gain 3 favor. It's only turn 2 right now, so I only gain 2 favor, excuse me. And then you can buy cards from the Sanctum. So every time you hit face, you get 3 favor, except for on turn 2 or turn 1. On turn 1, you only get 1 favor. Turn 2, you get 2 favor. Every turn after that, you get 3 favor. If I spend the spell right here to kill his hidden creature, I can't target it, but it does damage to a random creature. So this is going to hit his only creature. It's not really random. And this is going to give me 2 more favor because it's turn 2. And then you can see the cost underneath each one of these cards. If I click on it, I can pull it out here and see all the different cards, the amounts that they cost in favor. And these are shared cards. So if he wants to buy one of these before I do, he can. And then it gets replaced with a random card from one of these other Sanctum decks. I have a whole video on Sanctum cards. Link is up above. So make sure you check that if you're interested in the Sanctum. And then the fatigue system is the last thing I'll talk about here. The fatigue system in Hearthstone is just once you can't draw cards, each turn that you can't draw a card, it's going to bump up the amount of damage it does by 1. So the first turn you can't draw a card, it does 1 damage. The second turn it does 2 damage, etc. In Gods Unchained, the fatigue system is such that if you have no cards to draw, you are likely at 9 mana. So if you don't spend any of your mana, it would do 9 damage. If you spent 1 of your mana and had 8 left, it would do 8 damage. So the remaining amount of mana that you have unspent is how much damage it will do. So on the first turn that you run out of cards, maybe you still have a lot of cards in your hand and you can get away with not taking any damage. It's possible. But eventually you're going to run out of cards and it's going to do 9 damage to you each turn if you have 9 mana unlocked and you're not spending any. All right, so the last thing I want to touch on is not a gameplay aspect necessarily, but it's something that is hugely important, and that is the play to earn mechanics that make this game way cooler, in my opinion, than any other game that is digital right now. And that is that you own your cards when you buy them. In Hearthstone, if you spend $1,000 on the game to buy packs, you can't resell any of those cards. You can't sell your account. They can ban your account if you speak out in support of Hong Kong. Whatever. Blizzard can do whatever they want. You don't own your cards or your account. They do. In Gods Unchained, you own your cards. You can sell them on the market. You can play the game and earn packs of cards just by playing, and then sell those cards on the market. Very shortly, IMX is going to be released. If you don't know what that is, it doesn't matter, except to say that the marketplace is going to be open and popping off in about 1 month. So that's one of the biggest key differentiators, in my opinion, that make Gods Unchained very much worth your time. Again, don't forget that you can get $20 for free just to check the game out right now. Link in the description below to download it. Check it out. I hope this guide was helpful to Hearthstone players and even just new players who wanted to know what all the keywords were, even if you never played Hearthstone in your life. So that's going to do it for this one. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Make sure you hit like, comment if you got this far. Let me know that this was actually helpful. And make sure you protect those goats with backline. And I'll see you guys in the next one. With